So, I beat Bioshock Infinite earlier this year, and I was thinking about doing a review, but I wasn't sure there was anything really new I could add to all the reviews that are already out there. It's a great game, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to do something a little different. So I thought, why not do a versus and put Bioshock Infinite up against the first Bioshock game. I was going to maybe make it a versus between Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite, but even though I enjoyed Bioshock 2, it's not going to be getting any points in this versus, so I might as well just cut that one out right now. First category up is environments, and for this I give the point to Bioshock Infinite. The environments in Bioshock Infinite seem a little bit more varied than they were in the first Bioshock. Everything in the first Bioshock looked kind of samey, because it needed to, but still kind of samey. With Infinite, you're outdoors, you're indoors, there's graveyards, there's gardens, there's lots of stuff that keeps you visually interested, and the way the environments are arranged were very well done. The use of the skyline was nice. There was just lots of places you felt like you could go in this floating city. The atmosphere, however, that point is going to Bioshock. And I'm calling atmosphere out separately from environments just because I remember saying that the atmosphere was its own character in the written review I did for Bioshock a long time ago. And that still holds true. That dank, moist, dark, creeping atmosphere with great sound to back it up and enhance it. The sense of creepiness and uncertainty that I didn't feel in Infinite. I never really felt inadequate in Infinite. Whereas with Bioshock, I did get that feeling where I'm really not supposed to be here. And that's why I'm calling it out separately, and that's why Bioshock gets the point. For the protagonist, my point goes to Infinite. Which I guess actually it should go to those protagonists. Booker DeWitt is a much more interesting character, given that, he speaks, and he actually has his own character. A lot more effort was put into Booker DeWitt. But then you also have Elizabeth, and sure, you don't play as Elizabeth, but she plays a fairly equal role in what's happening. And she was a great companion to have with you. And opposite to your protagonist is, of course, the antagonist. But this time, it goes to Bioshock. For some reason, I felt Andrew Ryan in Bioshock was a little bit better modeled for a villain. And although a lot of people were disappointed with the final fight in Bioshock, it served as a much more interesting face-off. At least he put up a fight. I found the setup for who Andrew Ryan was a little bit more interesting to my fiction preferences, which is also why I'm giving a point to Bioshock for themes. The story and backstories that both games offer and the history that comes with both of these games are interesting and engrossing, but for me, I found the whole idea of the Utopia City with that strong theme of the greatest scientific minds will make perfection, and instead they make chaos, and it all kind of comes crumbling down, kind of along with that old saying, the road to hell is paved with best intentions. The way they set that up happening in Bioshock, I just connected to a little bit better. But Infinite's not falling behind yet, because even though the themes were preferred in Bioshock, the ending of the story in Infinite definitely stands out in comparison. I won't talk too much about it in case you haven't played it yet and plan to. However, I will say the way they wrap things up earns Infinite the point for the ending. So we're tied up 3-3, and I've got 1 point left to give, which was a tough point because they're both great games and I both enjoyed playing them very much. But for overall gameplay, I'm giving the point to Bioshock. In the world of first-person shooters, it just had more of the things I like. I felt it promoted the use of your plasmids more than Infinite did the use of your vigors. And in first-person shooters, I gotta love it more when I can carry more than 2 guns. I still remember my reaction the first time I played a first-person shooter where I was restricted to only a couple guns that I could carry, and it was a weird experience for me. And I've always preferred being able to carry multiple weapons at the same time. Plus, in that respect, Infinite kind of cut its weapons short when you go and buy upgrades, because there's only a limited amount of money I could find, and I found that the upgrades in general could get kind of expensive. So it's kind of like the whole moral choice issue in some other games, where if you're going to head down one path, you might as well just go all the way down that path and don't look back. Very similar with the weapons. You kind of, sure, you could switch up your guns and pick up another one that another enemy dropped and trade them as you go along, but as you upgrade your weapons, costing the little money that you have, you kind of want to upgrade just a couple of the guns as much as you can. So then I kind of felt like I needed to stick with those for the whole game. And when I first played Bioshock, there was a lot going on that made me feel like I was having a new experience in a first-person shooter. And it's not as though Infinite was void of those kind of experiences. It just felt a little bit less new than Bioshock did. No major issues. But if you're looking to score the point, I gotta give gameplay to Bioshock. And that's why, by a small margin, in this versus for me, Bioshock's the winner.